Every people has its gods, and every people, when the moon goes dark, has asked the same frightened question. Where did it go? Tonight, we leave the cold north far behind. We sail south to warm islands scattered across a warm sea. The islands now called the Philippines, and to a serpent so vast that the people there believed it could rise from the deepest water and swallow the moon whole. They called it the Bakunawa. Picture a night, centuries ago, on one of those islands. The moon is full and high, silvering the water. And then, slowly, impossibly, it begins to disappear. A shadow slides across its face, a curved shadow, like the edge of a mouth. And the islands do not go quiet, they erupt. In every village, people pour out of their houses with pots and pans and gongs and drums, anything made of metal, and they beat them as hard as they can, and they scream at the sky. Not in panic, in purpose. They are shouting the same thing, thousands of voices across the dark water. Give it back. Because they knew exactly what was happening up there. The serpent had risen again. And the serpent had almost won once before. To understand the fear, you have to go back to the very beginning. To the world as the old Visayan storytellers said it once was. In that first age, the night was not dark at all, because the Creator, the great god the islanders called Batala, did not hang one moon in the sky. He hung seven. 7 moons riding in a slow procession from horizon to horizon. The old tellings say the nights were almost as bright as the days, that fishermen could read the water at midnight, that children played on the sand under a sky full of silver lamps. It was, the storyteller said, the most beautiful thing the world has ever had and lost. What beauty in every mythology on earth has a price. Someone is always watching it, and far below those 7 moons, at the bottom of the deepest sea, something was. The Bakunawa, a serpent so long that no telling ever dared give it a length. Its mouth, they said, was the size of a lake. Its tongue was red as fire, and on its head it wore whiskers and gills and a crown-like crest, like a dragon of the deep. It was not, in the beginning, evil. The oldest stories are very careful about this. It was simply in love. Every night it rose toward the surface just to look, at 7 perfect lights hanging above the water, each one doubled in the sea like a second sky. And the Bakunawa wanted them, not to destroy them, to have them, which, as any storyteller will tell you, is how most destruction begins. One night, the serpent stopped looking. It gathered itself in the deep, and it rose, faster and faster, a mountain of scales moving through black water. And it broke the surface and kept going, up into the air itself, higher than any living thing had ever risen. And it opened that lake-sized mouth and swallowed a moon whole. The world dimmed. 6 lights now, where there had been 7. And the serpent slid back into the sea, and the moon it had taken glowed inside it, the stories say, like a lantern behind its ribs, and then, slowly, went out. Some tellings say the moons melted inside it. Some say it simply could not stop, because the next night it rose again and again and again. 5 moons. 4, 3, 2. Each night the world grew darker. Each night, the people watched another lamp go out of the sky and understood that something in the sea was eating their light, and that nothing they had could stop it. Until one moon remained, the last moon, the one we still have. And here the story turns, because the god was not asleep. Batala had seen what the serpent had done to his 7 lights, and he came down to save the last of them. But the old tellings give him a strange weapon. Not a spear, not a storm. Bamboo. He planted bamboo, whole groves of it, across the face of the last moon. And the islanders would point up at the dark markings you can still see there, the shadows we call the seas of the moon. And they would tell their children, that is the bamboo. That is the god's fence, growing on the moon to guard it. And then Batala did the second thing. He told the people. The serpent, he said, cannot be killed. It is older than the islands, but it has one weakness: its ears. It cannot bear noise, the clash of metal, the roar of many voices. So when it rises for the last moon, and it will rise, do not hide. Make the loudest sound your islands have ever made, and it will spit the moon back into the sky. And that is exactly what an eclipse was for centuries across those islands. Not an omen, a battle. The shadow slides across the moon, the serpent's mouth closing. The moon turns the color of embers. It is inside the serpent now, glowing behind its ribs. And the people answer. Gongs, drums, iron pots beaten with iron spoons, whole villages screaming into the dark. Release it. Return our moon. And then, every time, the shadow slides away. The light returns, thin at first, then full. The serpent, deafened, defeated, sinks back into the deep. The people put down their pots and go back to bed, having, as far as they knew, just saved the moon. Together, again. Think about what that does to a people. In most of the world's stories, an eclipse is a curse you can only endure. Here, it was a fight you could win. But the islands are many, and the story has many mouths, and some of them tell it differently. In one telling, the Bakunawa did not swallow the moons out of desire at all. It had a sister, a giant sea turtle, who would come ashore to lay her eggs on a certain island. And the people of that island, frightened by the floods her visits brought, killed her on the sand. The serpent circled the islands, looking for her, the telling says. And when it understood what had been done, it rose and began to swallow the lights of the sky, one by one, not from hunger, from grief. In another, the serpent was once a beautiful goddess of the sea who loved a mortal, and was scorned and burned, and remade herself into the monster the world had already decided she was. Different islands, different tellings. But notice what they agree on. The monster was made, not born. Something beautiful was taken from it first. The old storytellers of the islands did not build their great devourer out of pure evil. They built it out of loss. And here is the part almost nobody outside the islands knows. The Bakunawa was not just a fireside tale. It was written into daily life. The old Visayans kept a kind of almanac, and in it, the serpent slowly rotates through the year, facing north, then east, then south, then west, season by season. Builders would consult it before raising a house, so the doorway would not face the serpent's open mouth. The monster in the sea was also a compass, a calendar, a way of holding the year in your hands. And when Spanish friars arrived in the 1500s and wrote down what they saw, they recorded the eclipse ritual with astonishment. Whole coastlines of people, beating metal and shouting at the sky in perfect coordination. The word itself outlived the belief. In Cebuano and in other tongues of the islands, the old word for eclipse is simply Bakunawa. The serpent ate its way into the language, and it is still there. One more thing. When the moon rises tonight and you see those dark markings on its face, the islanders would tell you that is not rock and shadow. That is the bamboo, still growing. The fence is still up, because the serpent is still down there, and it only ever needs one more. That is the Bakunawa, the serpent that taught 1,000 islands to fight for the moon and win. Next time, we go to Greece, but not to the gods you know. We go further back, to the goddess who was old when Zeus was young. The goddess of night itself, the one power even the king of the gods was afraid to offend. Her name is Nyx. Follow the fire, and I will tell you that one too. Until then, sleep well, or don't.